Day 9 of 31 days of Halloween, and we're still chugging along. Today it's Thrifty Thursday, and I've gone through my stash and I've pulled out things that have to do with coffee. Hi, this is Kelly with Kelly's Creative Dream Studios, and today it's all about the pumpkin spice and the coffee. Now I have some things here. This is a cup huggy that I don't know where I got this one from. This is from a place that I go to in West Plains called Conjure House Coffee. Excuse me, I thought that was perfect for Halloween. From one of these huggies, I have cut out a slice of pumpkin pie and a pumpkin latte in a nice festive cup. And I also have a coffee filter and magazine paper that is all about the coffee beans. And I'm not sure how I'm using these yet, but these I've got going. Now, I have to say that using the, I should have plugged in my iron by now. Using the Mod Podge method to the coffee filter has really become one of my favorite things to use for delicate papers. Coffee filters are like a napkin. And so this is going to be our cover base for this. I am going to use this somehow. Now, as I said, I peeled the back off because these are quite thick. They're like a thin corrugated cardboard. Let me pop this one open. See, they're like a thin corrugated cardboard. So I've taken part of the back off and thinned this one down. This one was punched from a black coffee hugger. And I peeled some of the backing off just so that I could get it into my punch. And that's what we're going to put the Conjure House on. So I'm going to go ahead, while we wait for my iron to heat up. Silly me, didn't have it running. While we wait for it to heat up, I will do this. Now, tomorrow is Fabric Friday. And again, I'm going to be using this same Mod Podge technique because, like napkins, like coffee filters, fabric can be a little persnickety. And I can do that without having to worry about trying to use Wonder Under or get the fabric to lay flat, any of that fun stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and put glue on the back of my Conjure thing here. And I think I may wind up making another one of these. Maybe a Halloween card using this same technique for my friends who own Conjure House Coffee. Shout out to Lily and Brandon who have really made a nice cozy spot to want to sit. And then this will sit down in the corner. This is where I'm at. I thought about this. There's the bottom. Conjure coffee, but I think, you know what I like more? I think I like using that donut as my hole reinforcer. Look at your images and see what they have to tell you. So I'm going to go ahead and see, it's not quite going to work out. He's not down there far enough, but I could come into this one maybe. And I could get all of him just like that. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to punch through that corrugation with the punch, but it worked out fine. So then we'll put this up at the top with the hole in the center. And I think I want to use this. I think I want to use this for our ribbon tie. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one out. We need that contrast. Oh, but wait a minute. What's this? This also has potential on a coffee tag. Oh, but wait, there's more. Let's try while we're waiting for that iron to heat up. I love when I get things on the fly. I kind of have an idea of where I'm going when I start. But I don't always know how it's going to end up. So let's start here and take that one off. And let's come back and take a piece of this off. Nothing says we can't do two different ties, right? So we'll cut that one off because I really like the idea of this with the coffee. The other thing about this, you know, because I love coffee, when we do that, we can twist this. I don't know, we'll play with those. It may be just this one. We'll see. when we get to that point. I think my iron's ready for me, so I'm going to come in and grab this. And I'm going to leave it plugged in this time since I hadn't had it plugged in yet. And we're going to go through and we're just going to reactivate that Mod Podge and glue our coffee filter into place. Man, this is such an easy trick that my sister taught me. I love it. Put those scissors back where they belong. Get out these that I used to cut this apart. And that coffee filter is really flimsy, so it's making it hard to trim that off. Now I can save these bits and pieces for other projects involving coffee. They're just big enough to not throw away, but they're small enough that they'll work great on a cluster. Okay, so there's those. We'll put those in our coffee bag. I finally had the chance to go through a lot of my ephemera that was piled around the room and make kit bags with stuff that I'd been saving. And see, this is wanting to peel up here, so we're going to come back in with our iron and press that down a little bit more. It may be that I didn't get enough Mod Podge on that corner. There we go. Okay. And now we need to chop off our corners, and I think I'm going to go and put the dark down here at the bottom. Darker is heavier than light, so put the dark near the bottom. Just like that. And that was a corner that didn't want to play, so now I don't have to worry about it. Oops, there we go. Another one coming up, so let's go ahead and press that down. And that might have been the same corner that was giving us fits, so we'll see. Okay, now I need to come down here and take it out of frame so I can find my center on my mat and glue my pumpkin donut into place. I'd like to get some time to do some baking today. I leave early tomorrow morning for the conference, and I'm just not sure if I'm going to have time to do anything, but I'd really like to make some of my pumpkin breakfast cookies to take with me. And now we can come back in here, and I'm going to see with this, I've got this little hole in the donut. I can use that as my center. There we go. And then I'll get those out of there. Stuck. Okay, now let's get the rest of this stuff in place before we decide. I do think I want to put this down at the bottom. And it is, if I put that there, and I bring Conjure House down here on the bottom, then I could put a strip of the coffee bean right along here. So let's take this and glue this to the side. Have you noticed that whenever I glue things to the side, I'm always gluing them to the left side of the tag? I have no clue why. So tell me in the comments below, do you find yourself gravitating towards one side of the tag or the other when you're crafting these for side embellishments? I'd love to know if it's just me. Now this is where I tore it out of the magazine, and I want that rough edge over here. So I'm going to head and position that right there. And while that is not necessarily needing to be ironed on, I am going to use that to press that into place. I have cords over here all tangled up where they don't need to be. And I've lost my glue gun. There we go. Put my glue gun back up here where it belongs. Now I can flip this over, come back in with my bigger scissors. And I'm not going to cut all the way across because I might need that bigger section of that coffee bean. So I'm just going to come in here like this. And then that lets me save that whole sheet of coffee bean for something else. Just like that. Okay. There's that. Now, if we come back in with, get the dusties off of there, come back in with that. And I'm going to move this over because I want the spice cup to show. And then when I put Conjure House Coffee here, let's make it a center point, shall we? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run this all the way across, just like this. So see, you never know what you're going to use when you pick something up. I'm going to hold that in place. Now, while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and put dimensionals on this one. I think I'm going to use the black, just because. And part of the reason I'm using the dimensionals as opposed to just gluing this flat down is because I have some of the texture from the corrugation on there. And I want to make sure that that's not preventing me from getting a good adhesion elsewhere. High spot, low spots kind of thing. So if I put the dimensionals on here, it gives me a balance or level texture that I can adhere down to the top of the tag. Just like this. Just make sure Conjure House Coffee goes, try and put it to the center a little bit. Just like that. And now that this is dry, I can come back and trim this off. And I need to use my bigger scissors for this, apparently. And people talk about scissors and stuff sticking to them. Cleaning them is a simple, easy fix. A little bit of acetone on a napkin or a old dish rag, old washcloth, something like that, is easy enough to wipe these down and clean them off. And periodically you should clean off your scissors anyway, just to make sure they're where you want them to be. Now I'm going to leave this one out. Now, let's see. Do we want just the plain orange? I think this gives us too much texture. I really do. So do we like that? Or do we like this? As soon as I can get it shoved through the hole with my fingers. And that's where these little bitty crochet hooks come into play. I really think that's almost too much. I think I like this because it pulls some of this in. So I think I'm going to go with that. A little bit of solid color, a little less pattern. But that really doesn't show up all that well, does it? Let's go back to this one. I do. I think I like that better. So we're going to put that over there. We're going to tie this off. And see, there are lots of ways to do your tag tops. You can loop them, you can glue them, you can tie them. But if you tie them, you want to make sure that you're twisting your fabrics, particularly if it's one-sided. There we go. And there is tag number 9 for Thrifty Thursday. And I will see you back here tomorrow for Fabric Friday. In the meantime, please remember to like, to share, subscribe, and spooky creative blessings.